So with this thing, we can log in, but if you log in late after so many minutes, it cancels the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
But this is our first time using this service, so hopefully it goes a lot smoother than the one for jurors.
Yeah. Allison was I was out with her last night, and she said she tried to tune in for a tuck, and it was still rough with that too.
Yeah, well,
I told her we're using a different thing, so
I had no control over that one. Because that was all Worthington.
Susan, he's eating. So with those questions you sent me, are you just going to be asking those to me like throughout the video, or do you want me to just talk?
It's loosely structured, so I will ask questions to help get the conversation starting. And they were mostly to get you to think beforehand about like what kinds of things we want to cover. And then, but if the conversation is just flowing, I'm let it go. And then I have it up on my iPad next to me so I can make sure we hit all of those points. And if there's anything that we don't, then I'll make sure to ask those as well. But don't feel like we have to stick strictly to that. And there's Allison. Good morning, Allison.
Good morning.
How are you, my dear?
Good. Is it like you can hear me okay and everything?
As I was telling Keriann earlier, over on the side, you should see where it says private chat. If at any time you need to communicate with any of us who are visual, you can just chat. Good morning, Dan. Yeah, my hair's gone.
I told someone that and they didn't believe me. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, I only ever had long hair because I'm cheap and lazy. And when you have long hair, you don't have to wash and shower it every day. You don't have to go get haircuts every couple weeks. So, and we had a black hair wedding to go to a couple weeks ago. And I was like, if I'm going to fancy, I might as well go full into it and just get rid of it. Hi, Dan. Oh, do you like horses? We have 2 more minutes to get more people in. And here's Lynette.
Woo. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lynette.
Morning.
I was scared when I was supposed to do this. It was me, but I guess that's good that you get too much, Charlie. Oh, voice.
So far, I'm excited about how smoothly this is working compared to the tuck, the jurors live streams. Those were a little rough.
Yeah, nice that we can have multiple hosts.
Yes, it's nice that we can get the kinks worked out. I don't know about that, Natalie, but for those attending, if you haven't noticed already, if you leave comments, then we can respond to those. There is also a slight lag between what we are seeing and what you guys are seeing. So if you make a comment and we don't acknowledge it immediately, that's why. Okay, so it is 5 after. Let's go ahead and get started. So for those of you who don't know me, I can't see exactly who all's here, but if you don't know me, my name is Brian Palmer. I am the Executive Director for Ethereal Just Arts Council. I also will be serving as the producer for this production. And for today, for the live stream, I'll also be serving as the facilitator. So the first person we're going to hand it over to is Keriann, who will be the director for the show. Keriann, if you wouldn't mind going ahead and introducing yourself.
Sure. I'm Keriann. I am the director of the house. This is my first production directing with Ethereal Just, and actually my first full-length play I'm directing ever. But I have a lot of experience with theater. I have a theater degree from Cedarville University, and I took directing classes. I directed a lot of short scenes. I also have a business minor that I feel like kind of incorporates into the production side of theater really well. And I'm just really excited to bring this play to life and see where this adventure takes us.
Fantastic. So if you wouldn't mind taking a minute to introduce the rest of your team.
Sure. So with us today is Allison. She is my assistant stage manager, and we have Lynette. She is my assistant director. We also have Jordan Soar. She is our stage manager. For props, we have Jamie Levitt, and for costumes, we have Amy Gorms.
Fantastic. So if you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes to tell us what this show is about and how it's different from other versions of Little Women.
Sure. This show is mainly about the history. Obviously, it's the story of Little Women, but it starts off with the author, Louisa May Alcott, and her life and her story. I mean, she is the first person you see on stage. She tells the audience and her editor and her actor friend the reasons why she wrote the story. And throughout that, she goes and does tellings of her childhood, when they came upon Orchard House, when they came upon and met all of their teachers and their professors and all the influences in her life, and then goes on to introduce the Little Women story. And she's telling the story and letting her actor friend read it as she's making the finishing touches to Little Women itself. And it is the most amazing, smooth transition right into Little Women. And we see everyone that you imagine to see in Little Women. We have the March Sisters, we have Lori, we have Mr. Lawrence, we have Hannah, the family servant and friend, just everyone you expect to see in the story. But I feel like what really makes this one different is it shows you who Louisa is. She's famous for Little Women, but a lot of people don't know who she actually is. And so I feel like this play shows you her for herself. And so I really feel like it's a special adaptation of Little Women, because we get to see why it's written the way it is and who she names all these characters after.
So what is your concept for the show?
Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Yeah, what is your concept for the show? Like, what is the desired feeling or experience that you want to leave the audience with after they leave?
Sure. My main concept for this show is that we are in her house. My hope and goal is to make the theater as much of her house as possible. So when you come into the theater, you're immediately immersed into who she is, what her life was like. And I am all about simplicity. So my set's going to be very simple. I focus more on what the actors can give to the play, and different set pieces and furniture is going to be our big main aspects. And my main backdrop is going to be the backdrop of Orchard House, but it's going to hit all of the different key elements that make Orchard House what is special to the girls, like the windows that would look into the specific rooms that they used. But it's also going to be simple enough that it doesn't distract from the play itself, because I really want people to focus on, oh my goodness, Louisa is this person, this real person that lived and breathed and had a vision and supported her family. And pretty much it's just we're welcoming you into her living room per se. This is her life, and this is what we're going to live in.
Very cool. So with the production, what do you think or view as the central message of the production? Like, why do you think the playwright needed to write the story, and why do we need to tell the story today?
Sure. When I was thinking about why the playwright wrote this story, and why people should even see a story like this, I really feel like a lot of people get thrown or get lost in the mix of fame. And because Louisa lived in the 1800s and she was a woman, she wasn't widely developed into a person itself. And I feel like the playwright really had a heart for her and for her story. And so he wanted the world to know who she was as a person, and not just this author of a book, but someone who really had an impact in history, for sure.
Okay, so heading into the actual production and for participants, what is audition? What will auditions be like? What is the process, and what are you looking for?
So auditions are going to be strictly monologues. You're going to have about a 10-minute time frame to present your monologue. We're going to get to know you a little bit. We really want to be able to have this time to we want to get to know you. We want you to get to know us. We want you to do your best and really just have fun with it. We want to see your best work. We want to see what you've prepared for us and show us what you can do in a preparation fashion, because we want to be able to see that you can memorize. We want to be able to see that you can pick something that works well for yourself, but also take direction at the same time. So auditions are going to be monologues, very short and sweet. And then getting into callbacks, we will do cold readings from the script. And then callbacks will be determined Sunday evening on September 3rd. And then if you do get a callback, you will come in on that Monday evening, the day after. If you do not get called back, that doesn't necessarily mean that you were not cast. It means that we saw everything we needed to see and that we were happy with what we saw, and we can make decisions from there. But if you did get a call back, you will come in the next Monday evening, and we will do cold readings from the script.
Okay, so we actually have our first question asked if you would prefer a comedic or a dramatic monologue.
That is a great question. I do not have a preference. I want you to pick something that shows shows a good stretch of your talent. So if you think a comedic monologue is the way to go for that and it has enough depth to it to perform, I would say go comedic. But if you think your dramatic monologue shows more of yourself than your talent, then I would pick that.
I will say that for myself, one of the main things that I'm always looking for in auditions is if you can be entertaining.
Mhm.
That honestly, our audiences, they're just coming to be entertained in the end. And so if you can entertain us in just a few minutes, then that will usually bear well for you with your audition. So don't worry too much
Sure.
about trying to be like super professional or be something that you think that we're wanting. We really just want you to do well and to entertain us. We'll be there for 4 hours watching a bunch of auditions, so we want to be entertained with every single one of them. And everyone sitting there behind the table is rooting for you. We want you to be successful. We want you to do well. So whichever one you think probably fits your, like Keriann said, your skills, ability, or that you just enjoy the most. Because with the show, it does have both dramatic and comedic elements. So being able to demonstrate either of those talents. And also the thing to think about that you could do 2 monologues. That because you have the 5 or so minutes, it doesn't have to be one 5-minute monologue. It could be of a comedic monologue, 2.5 of a dramatic, show both. So it just depends on what you're finding and what you want to do. So
yeah, I agree with that. Sorry. I agree with that. I feel like the audition is there to showcase yourself, and we want to see what you can do. We want to see that you can entertain us. That, I mean, there's going to be a good span of people there, and we, like I said, he said, we're all rooting for you. We want you to succeed. So, in my mind, if you think you're going to succeed the best in a comedic or a dramatic, then pick that one. Or like you said, try to do both, and we want to see different sides of you too.
Fantastic. So once we've done, and you had mentioned before, callbacks will be cold reads from the script as well. And so after auditions have taken place, after callbacks take place, what is your timeline to make casting decisions and to inform? And will everyone be informed?
Yes. So the timeline for information for casting decisions, we will be letting everyone know by 8 p.m. that Wednesday evening. Either way, you will be informed if you are cast or not cast by 8 p.m. through email. And we will be posting the final cast list that Friday by 8 a.m. So we ask, obviously, that if you are cast, you wait until we post the cast list to announce that publicly. But I don't believe in ever leaving people hanging. I don't believe in people wondering, oh my goodness, was I cast? Was I not cast? So everyone's going to know, regardless if they are cast or not cast, by Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Fantastic. And I will say that the timeline is more ethereal, just timeline. We want to make sure that we give our directors plenty of time to ruminate in their casting decisions, to make sure that they have the right people in the right place, that we aren't making decisions too quickly. So that's why we wait until Wednesday. And then we want to make sure that you guys have time to consider your casting offers. So that's why they go out via email. So that way you have time to think about it, consider, do you really want, and then be able to respond before we announce it publicly. I've worked with groups before that's how they inform you, is by announcing it publicly. And it's like, oh, wow, I would have liked to have known that.
Yeah.
So it's to make sure both we and you have the time to consider the situation. So after casting is done and we're moving into rehearsals, what will rehearsals be like? When do they begin? What is the rehearsal schedule? And what is your rehearsal process?
Sure. So rehearsals will start in October. because the cast is getting decided beginning of September. It's going to give us some chances to potentially do some costume measurements, maybe get the scripts in hand a little early, just different details like we worked in beforehand. But our first day of rehearsal will be October 2nd. It'll begin with a full table read of the script. Everyone's going to get to know each other, going to get to look at contracts, look at the get to know Ethereal Jess a little bit, and get to know the production team as well. And then we will start right in that week with blocking. We'll start with some scene work. I do want to do a lot of table work at the beginning so we can get to know our characters, get to know who the other characters are in the play, because there's a lot of us. There's going to be quite a bit of family dynamic to figure out, and a lot of just character history as well. And so I really want to focus that first week on developing history, developing who our characters are, and so we can get to know them. The earlier the better, so that we can get to know why they say what they say, and why they move why they move when they move. And so when we do start blocking, that will just seem very organic and very natural. And then we will run rehearsals through the end of November. And then our opening night will be December 1st. And we will run for 2 weekends, Friday through Sunday.
So during the rehearsal process, we have Thanksgiving. So how does that affect rehearsals?
So we will only, I forgot to mention, rehearsals will be Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. First month will be 6 to 8 p.m. Second month will be 6 to 9 p.m. We will be off the Wednesday and Thursday and Friday of Thanksgiving. So we'll only be rehearsing that Monday and Tuesday that week. But then the following week, we'll move into Tech Week.
Yeah, and that is good to know that after we move from Thanksgiving, that Saturday is load in, and a chance for like the lighting and sound designers to get their stuff and the set to get installed. Isabella, thank you. So that Saturday, we will load in, get everything set up and ready. So that way, Sunday, we can start right in with a full run of the show. And that will start dress and tech at the same time. And then it'll be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday rehearsals. And then Thursday night is the preview. And that is open to the public. And it will be we will have Facebook events for these things that people can share and come. The
What color is this?
preview is a discounted ticket price. The regular performances are $25 a ticket, which we are considering for this show, doing like family ticket pricing and kid and student ticket pricing. We're still working on the deals for that, but hopefully that will be something that we'll be able to do. But the preview, where the public is $25, the preview is $15, and that's for all of our shows. So we are actually heading into Tech Week for our current show, 12 Angry Jurors. So next Thursday, or this Thursday coming up, is our preview, which are $15, and then the next 2 weekends are the show, $25 each. So if you haven't gotten your tickets yet for that, please come out. But then the show will run for 2 weekends, and so we have also planned a few extra events to go along with the production. Because there is a ball scene in the show, we will be doing a ballroom dance workshop that will be required for those in the scene, but then it will also be open to the public for anyone else who wants to come in. And you will learn how to waltz. You'll also learn how to polka, which, sidebar, polka is one of my favorite dances ever. It's my anti-drug. And lightheaded, it's super fun. Love polka. And for promotional, we will also be doing a story time with Louisa May Alcott. So whoever is cast in that role, we will go to one of the local libraries, maybe multiple libraries, and it will be a free event for kids to come in, and she'll be there in costume. We may also have the March Girls there in costume as well. We'll have to figure out the details for that. But then Louisa will read stories to the kids. And then once we've moved in, it'd probably be on one of the Saturdays in the afternoon. We're going to do a tea time with the March Sisters, where kids can come in and on the set have tea and play games with the March kids. And then Hannah, who is their maid, and Marmy, who's their mom, will help serve the kids and make sure that they're having a good time. And just a way to try to make it more of an experience for kids. To go along with what Keriann was saying earlier, that we want especially children, when they come in, to be able to get lost in the magic of the story and not feel like they're an outsider looking in. So McKenna has asked, for younger kids auditioning, would they be okay to tell a story rather than a monologue?
Yes, and this is what I'm most excited for the so it's going to be elementary age and younger. The monologue is a requirement of 30 seconds. It can be a nursery rhyme, it can be a story they know, it can be like lyrics from a favorite song. And I was thinking about this the other day because I do have a 4-year-old that loves to tell stories. If they have an amazing experience that they just want to tell me all about, I am all for it. I just want to see what they can, like I said, it's like anyone else. I want to be entertained. I want to see how they can articulate a story or a rhyme, something they're passionate about. So that for that age group, I'm really excited to see what they bring to the auditions.
And again, when it's with the younger kids, we're wanting to also to see that they can memorize something or that they can remember something, like with the older auditioners. But more so, it's can they get up in front of strangers and still communicate, still talk, still tell a story, recite whatever they've memorized. Because I know as an adult, that's very difficult for me. That's why I hate auditions, because put me up on a stage in front of 1,000 people and I'm fine. Put me in a room with 4 people staring at me and I'd rather have a root canal. Yusuf has asked, is there any way to read the script before auditions? Yes. If you email, and I will put this up on the screen so you guys can have it. Not talk and type at the same time. Okay, so if you send an email to info@etherealjack.com, then we will do a scan of the script. Now, you will only have access to the scan until auditions, then it will be removed. And you won't have the ability to download it. You won't have the ability to print it. You'll just be able to read it on a device. So you'll have to use like your laptop, iPad, or your phone. But yes, you can access the script beforehand by just sending a request to that email. So Keriann, any items that you would like to discuss related to auditions?
Sorry, you broke up there for one quick second. Can you repeat that?
Yep. Is there anything else, any other topics you want to discuss today?
I had a person ask me because there is a little bit of a difference in Joe March and Louisa May Alcott. Even though Louisa does write Joe March as a character based off of herself, that there is several differences in the March story versus the Alcott sisters. And as I did my research, I found out this interesting fact that Louisa was asked to write a more, what do they say, more family-friendly story that catered to women. because in real life, Louisa is the person to go off to war and work as a nurse. But in the story of the Little Women, the March sisters, it's Captain March that goes to work in the war. So I feel like she changed Joe's story so that she stays home with her family as a woman, as a girl, and that's her role because she was told we need stories to cater to women. So I feel like that little tidbit is a very interesting fact about the story. And Little Women was a moneymaker for her family. She didn't write it just because she wanted to write it. Her family was struggling. So this was, I mean, a make or break time for her to support her family. And she felt like it was very important that she took on that role because she didn't ever see herself as a settle down, marry somebody person. So she took it upon herself to support her family in every way possible. And Little Women was actually one of the big ways that she helped save her family from poverty.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Louisa May Alcott was ever married.
Nope, never married.
Yeah. That's also
I think
interesting that he never married, but in the book, Joe does get married.
Exactly. And I think that's another cater to women, cater to that time period kind of detail that she worked in because it's a kind of a fairy tale ending for Joe.
Which it's kind of interesting to think, like, if she was alive today and wrote the story today, how similar would it be and how different would it be? Like, would Joe still have gotten married? Because it's a very progressive for Joe to be pursuing a career as a writer at that time. But then to still have the traditional ending of marriage is very interesting.
I will say,
Yep.
growing up watching the Little Women story as much as I did, I always rooted for Joe and Lori. Always rooted for Joe and Lori. And then when she denied him, I was so frustrated. But then as a mom and a wife now, I see, I'm like, oh my goodness, Joe, like you're the powerhouse. So it's from different aspects and different parts of life, you see so many different facets of it. So that's why I'm really excited for families and different people from different parts of life to come to see this show because they're going to take it in different ways. And I love that.
Yeah. So Dan has asked where the play will be performed. All of our shows this season will be performed at the Columbus Performing Arts Center. This one in specific will be on the Shed stage, which is the same place where we did Community Theater Triple Feature Volume 1 back in the spring. So it's a small, intimate space if you've not been in there. It's a traditional proscenium, but for various reasons, it has been turned around. So now along the front edge of the stage, the wall of that now serve as the back of the stage. And then the audience sits stage against the back wall of the stage. So the fly systems on the audience is right, the booth is right there. And then you're seeing the back wall of the proscenium. So it's a really interesting space, but it's intimate, and I think will serve really well for this show. That being said, it does only seat 60 people max. So we are anticipating that this will be a high turnout show, especially being that it's the story of Little Women, plus being more focused. So if you don't end up participating in the show, definitely make sure that you get your tickets early for it to make sure that you can experience it because it's going to be a fantastic one. So, does anyone have any other questions?
I did want to point out kind of the age ranges we're looking for because I feel like it can be confusing for the Alcotts versus the March sisters, the age ranges we're looking for. We're casting as young as one of the youngest sisters for Alcott is 5 years old in the story. So we're looking for a very wide range of people of all age ranges. So if you feel like you're too young to try out, don't feel like that. Try out anyway. If you feel like you're too old to audition, don't, because we have so many opportunities and so many different age ranges to fill spots for. So never feel intimidated by your age, young or old. please come out if you're even the littlest bit interested.
Okay. Okay, so Yusuf has asked another question. For male parts, what are the changes you were looking for? Before Keriann goes in, when you're filling out the audition application, it has indicated the age range for each listed, so that helps. But if you want to talk a little bit about that as well.
Sure. I believe, and let me just confirm with my character descriptions, the youngest male part will be around 15 years old, and they should be able to play, because the story of the Little Women is going to have the younger age males in it, for Lori, for Freddie, but the actor who plays it will be portraying the story 3 years later as well. So you'll be able to portray a little bit older than that, because the character is going to need to age just a few years into the story. But I feel like the youngest age range for that will be 15.
Fantastic. Well, we'll wait another minute or so if anyone else has any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if anybody has any questions after the live stream today, you can send them to the same email address, and we can make sure to get answers to you as quickly as we can. So moving on from here, on Monday the 28th, we're doing our very first ever audition seminar. And the way that that works is if you are nervous about your audition, if you've never done a monologue audition before, or if you just want feedback on your audition, then it's a free event. It takes place at the Westerville Public Library, which, by the way, that's also where auditions and callbacks will all take place. So the audition seminar is in meeting room B. Auditions will be in meeting room C, which they're right next to each other. So as long as you're heading down that hallway, you'll easily find where you're supposed to go. And then callbacks will be in meeting room B as well. So with the audition seminar, everyone will get a chance to get up and do their audition. And then we will give feedback. Both Keriann and I will be there. So we can give feedback. Other participants as well can give feedback with each other. One of the rules is I had a boss once who always would tell me, bring me solutions, not problems. So the rule of the day will be, if you're giving feedback, give suggestions on ways to, don't just point out issues, because we don't want people going away feeling defeated. We want you to go away with things to work on, things to focus on, ways to get better, because we can all improve on what we're doing. And then we will also do some test runs on the cold reads as well, so that way you can get some tips and feedback on, when you're doing a cold read, what kinds of things should you be looking for, how should you attack it. And so this is open to anybody. You don't have to just be auditioning for this show. If you're looking to audition for one of our shows later in the season, or a show with a different company, you're welcome to attend the audition seminar. Again, that's Monday, August 28th. I believe it starts at 6:30. It might be 6. I think it's 6:30. So yeah, you can come to that and ask some more questions and get to meet us in person. If you have, like I said, any other questions, you can send to this email address, and we will get back with you as soon as we can. So Natalie is going to send another. Yeah, I actually got to do this show a year or two after I graduated high school, and I got to play Bronson Alcott, and I fell in love with it. And I've been trying to find a group to do this for like the last decade, and so now that I run my own group, I decided, okay, it's time, we're doing it. And then Keriann was her interview just blew me away. So she's definitely, I think, the best person to direct this show. And I am super excited for her and her team to get to meet all of you guys through auditions and then what you will be putting on stage. I'm just so excited. I cannot wait. So, Dan, thank you for asking. It is still up in the air on where rehearsals are. This weekend, we have a board meeting where we will be on a potential rehearsal space that will be ours forward. And if we vote yes on that, they take possession of our new space September 1st, which means that all of the rehearsals and everything moving forward, other than performances, will take place at the space. But once that is confirmed and we have that, we will make sure to announce where are, and then if you're in cast in the show as well, make sure that you're informed as to where to go. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for coming out and joining us today. I believe that this will stay up on the Facebook event for at least a little while. So if there's any information that you forget, come back and watch this. If it's not there, then again, just send an email or send us a message on Facebook. We can get you whatever information you need. Otherwise, thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your Saturday. And I'll see you guys soon.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too, Lynette.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye, Alex.